Tonight on NewsWatch, how Washington spends money. A look at government waste and what it means for lawmakers.
Plus, falling behind among his faithful? Is President Obama losing touch with the millennial generation?
And we'll show you how this South Dakota snow queen became a leader on Capitol Hill. All this and more tonight on NewsWatch. Good evening. I'm Mark Martin.
And I'm Heather Sells. A bipartisan budget deal is set to pass the U.S. Senate. It would avoid another government showdown and guide spending through 2015. But many in Washington say even with the new deal, spending is still out of control. Republican Senator Tom Coburn has released his annual Wastebook. It points to dozens of examples of outrageous ways the government uses taxpayer dollars. Charlene Israel has tonight's top story.
The list of wasteful spending by Washington grows longer and longer each year. The latest report by Senator Tom Coburn highlights hundreds of examples of wasteful and low-priority spending by the federal government. Like the State Department spending $630,000 to attract followers to its Facebook and Twitter accounts. And a study on angry wives. The government spent $300 million to learn that women would find marriage more satisfying if they could calm down faster during arguments with their husbands. How about brothels in Nevada getting $17 million in tax exemptions? The deductions ranging from breast implants to promotional free passes to bring in new customers. In what might be the most outrageous example, the Fort Hood shooter collected $278,000 in military benefits because the Military Code of Justice doesn't allow a soldier to be suspended until they are found guilty.
Inside the Wastebook this year is $30 billion of stupid, what I would consider stupid or at least poor judgment when it comes to spending money in a time when we have very little money to spare.
Coburn says the report speaks volumes about why the American people have lost confidence in the government and why Congress's approval rating is at an all-time low.
We see no waste, cut no waste, and embrace increasing the burden on the American people because we won't do our job. And it's Republican and Democrat alike.
Charlene Israel, CBN News.
The United States economy is healthy enough to begin standing on its own. The Federal Reserve made that decision today by announcing plans to start scaling back its economic stimulus program. In January, the Fed plans to reduce its bond buying from $85 to $75 billion a month, and that amount could drop even lower if the economy continues to improve. The Fed began purchasing bonds back in September of 2012. The program has helped to keep long-term interest rates low and encourage more borrowing and spending.
Joining us now with more on the Fed's decision is Bill Frezza, a Boston-based venture capitalist and a fellow at the Competitive Enterprise Institute. Bill, are you surprised at what the Fed did today?
I don't think so. I think there was a 50-50 expectation that the taper would start. The markets have reacted pretty smoothly. They've got themselves in a box canyon, and they're doing their best to get out of it. And, for the last half hour, it's been going fine.
What does this tapering of monthly bond buys mean for the economy going forward?
Well, we've been through an unprecedented bout of money printing, and let's keep in mind they're only reducing the rate at which they're printing money by 12%. They've been trying like crazy to eliminate price signals in the market, to create an illusion of prosperity, hoping that the illusion becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. They've inflated asset prices and home mortgages thanks to their bond buying programs, and hoping that the economy fills in from behind. What we're seeing instead is the entire Western world has become moribund with respect to growth, and this is what happens when you interfere in the economy at this level.
How will today's decision affect your average American, would you say?
Boy, that's a tough one. I think it's all going to depend on how businesses react over the next 9 months to 2 years. They have stopped investing. They're using all this money to buy back their stock. They've hunkered down. The unemployment figures that we're hearing out of Washington are mostly a fantasy of how they calculate the unemployment rate. If you look at shadow stats, instead of 7%, you'll see unemployment rates more like 14% or higher if you count all the people that have left the workforce. And so the difference between Main Street, Washington, and Wall Street is pretty profound, and it'll be some time before that gap closes.
Well, as we head into 2014, Bill, what do you see for the economy?
More of the same. We have tried to push on a rope, or the Uncle Sam has tried to push on a rope for several years now. Instead of using tried and true techniques, supply side techniques that we used in the 80s to create phenomenal growth records for 20 years, they're using demand side equations. They're trying to get people to go out and buy more, increase aggregate demand, as if this is going to magically solve all our problems. And except for a very thin slice of very wealthy people who have become that way because all the money shoved into the banking system, I don't think the American people are seeing much for this.
Okay. Bill Frezza, a fellow at the Competitive Enterprise Institute. Thank you, sir, for your insights, as always.
Thanks for having me.
Well, the stock market jumped sharply after today's announcement from the Federal Reserve. The Dow Jones Industrial Average closed up 293 points and the Nasdaq up 46.
It appears the White House is making moves to limit the NSA and the ways it collects the phone records of Americans. The White House is set to release a report from a special task force on the matter. Administration officials say the report recommends that third parties store the records instead of the NSA. It also recommends setting limits on how much data the NSA can acquire and how long it can keep it. The task force also wants annual reports to the White House on any spying on foreign leaders.
Well, with his approval ratings at an all-time low, President Obama is beginning to see some of his core supporters abandon him, including young voters. Like other Americans, millennials are worried about the Affordable Care Act, and that may mean even more trouble for its rollout and delivery. Ephraim Graham has our story.
Just a year into his second term, there is no shortage of opinions on the president's job performance.
His heart's in the right place, but just not good enough.
He needs to just step out there and be more forceful and get the things done.
Obamacare, and it's not, I see what he wants to do, but it's not going along well.
Younger voters were among the president's strongest supporters. Many campaigned hard to get him elected in 2008 and re-elected in 2012. A year later, polls suggest a growing number are suffering from buyer's remorse. When USA Today and the Pew Research Center polled millennials early in 2013, 67% approved of the president's job performance. In that same poll now, just 45% approve.
He's still going to be seen by them as the coolest president ever so far. But they also think of cool as you got to be competent too, and they don't see him that way.
I think his heart's in the right place.
Kendall Crawford is one of those young voters who cast her ballot for Obama in 2008 and 2012. Today, she has a list of disappointments. At the very top, the faltering healthcare reform.
In healthcare, I feel like he could have put a bit more, I guess, maybe just appointed someone and made sure that they got it straight, since it was such an important issue, especially throughout his first term.
Healthcare is the president's signature legislation, and young voters' lack of confidence in it could spell trouble for its future.
Those people were expected to sign up to pay for it. You know, in other words, the young people had to be brought in. They were the ones who would pay for this. And so they're not doing that. They're afraid like everybody else is.
For now, time may be on the side of Republicans who are looking to take control of the Senate.
I think that the implosion of Obamacare and the response of the administration is enough to damage big government without Republicans making a big show of saying we killed the president's signature law. I don't think they need to do that as much as they need to let it die, and then they offer the options people like.
From health care to the IRS Tea Party scandal to the backlash over NSA record collecting, the Washington Post declared President Obama as having the worst year in Washington. Political blogger Chris Cillizza wrote, when historians write the story of Barack Obama's presidency, 2013 will be his lost year. With a shift now in support from young voters, all eyes are on 2014 elections to see what the impact will be. Ephraim Graham, CBN News.
Americans think President Obama does a little bit better abroad than here at home. A new Associated Press GFK poll finds about 50% of Americans disapprove of how the president handles foreign policy. Compare that to domestic issues like the economy. There, 59% of Americans disapprove of the president's work. The new poll does, however, find many are skeptical about a tentative nuclear deal with Iran.
Turning overseas, ousted Egyptian President Mohamed Morsi will be tried for conspiring to carry out terrorist operations. Morsi and 35 others, including Muslim Brotherhood leaders, are charged with revealing state secrets to other countries and sponsoring terrorism. They are accused of working with groups like Hamas and Hezbollah to carry out a campaign of violence in order to destabilize the country after Morsi's ouster.
Coming up, a look at the growing number of conflicts across Africa.
In 2008, my husband Gary departed for heaven. I was still grieving. And then to find out I had cancer, I began praying, God, how do I do this? Where do I do this? Cancer Treatment Centers of America was the place. Dr. Neelam outlined a plan that would take care of my mind and my body, and she prayed with me.
For Bible-believing Christians, we're able to pray with them in a much deeper way as they begin to really rely upon their faith.
At Cancer Treatment Centers of America, we believe in the power of faith and prayer as indispensable allies in the fight against complex and advanced stage cancer.
I'm back in Telluride on the mountain skiing. I feel strong and healthy.
Advanced medicine and technology.
And I am a survivor.
The warm embrace of the Spirit and the power of prayer.
These are happy tears.
Please go to cancercenter.com/faith. Appointments available now. Cancer Treatment Centers of America. Care that never quits.
Attention sleep apnea patients. Are you tired of the expense and hassle of getting your CPAP and BiPAP supplies? Are you fed up with dealing with ill-fitting, leaking, or worn-out masks and straps? Are you worried about the effects that unsanitary tubes, cushions, and filters have on your health? If you said yes to any of these questions, Allied Medical Supply Network has the solution to your problems. You could qualify to have your supplies regularly delivered right to your door at little or no cost to you. That's right, no more inconvenience, no worn-out masks and straps, no more unsanitary equipment, just restful sleep. Call Allied Medical Supply Network today to determine if you may qualify to receive your fresh, brand-name supplies at little or no cost. Don't delay. Call us now to see if you are eligible to save money on regular delivery of your CPAP and BiPAP supplies. Call 1-800-815-9947. That's 1-800-815-9947. Or go to cpapsupplyhelpline.com.
More than 200,000 people have been displaced in the Central African Republic in just 2 weeks. Another 500 people were killed in 1 month alone as violence continues there. The country descended into chaos after Muslim rebels overthrew the Christian-led government back in March. The UN is now ramping up its humanitarian response, and the World Food Program is delivering food to refugees. Nearly a quarter of the population in the republic faces the threat of starvation. France also has more than 1,600 troops on the ground to help stabilize the troubled nation.
Growing tensions in South Sudan after what many call a coup attempt in the world's newest nation. South Sudan President Salva Kiir says disgruntled citizens aligned with the former vice president led an unsuccessful attack against military headquarters this week. Kiir tried to restore calm to his nation Tuesday during a live television broadcast.
I would like to inform you all, my dear citizens, that your government is in full control of the security situation in Juba. I promise you today that justice will prevail.
The South Sudan president imposed a mandatory curfew in the capital city of Juba and says government troops are pursuing the attackers.
And senior international correspondent Gary Lane has traveled many times to South Sudan during the past 2 decades, and he joins us now with more. Gary, tell us about this coup and, what all the details, who's behind it.
Well, if you talk to loyalists of the President Salva Kiir, they'll tell you that it's Riek Machar and his forces. Now, Riek Machar was the former vice president. He was removed from office a little over 6 months ago by President Kiir and some of the cabinet members. They are members of the Nuer tribe, which is a minority tribe compared to the Dinka tribe, which is the tribe that Kiir heads up. And I guess they feel like they're not having a say in the government anymore.
So the loyalists are saying that's what's going on. Is there another version?
Well, some people say no. Of course, Salva Kiir said that these are just disgruntled citizens. But really, it's ethnic fighting between tribes.
Okay. Now, there's, of course, been this ongoing fighting between the North and the South for so many years, but now are we really seeing a shift in terms of Southerners against Southerners?
Heather, I think most people pray and hope that that is not the case. But these two tribes have been fighting one another off and on for many years. It's not like they are great friends. I mean, there have been disputes over cattle and now over oil, over influence and control of South Sudan. So we pray it doesn't continue because that country, the newest country on earth, only about 2.5 years old, has many problems. They have a lot of people to feed, jobs to create, infrastructure to build, that kind of thing.
How committed do you think the current administration is to really stopping the violence?
Well, the ambassador to South Sudan today, Paige, she met with President Kiir, and she urged him to do what he can to restrain the violence, to ensure that it doesn't escalate. And I'm sure one thing that she said to him is, look, you were a great military leader on the battlefield, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're a great politician. To be a successful politician, you have to have an inclusive government. You have to include the Nuer in. And right now, there aren't many Nuer people in the government in higher levels.
All right, a lot to keep on top of, Gary Lane.
Yes, it's all up to those two leaders.
All right, thanks for your time.
Up next, from the prairie to politics, how one congresswoman is making a name for herself in Washington.
Jim is 38, mortgage, married, 3 great kids. He wants to protect his family with a $500,000 term life insurance policy. What do you think it'll cost him? $100 a month? 60? 40? Actually, none of the above. Jim can get a $500,000 policy from a highly rated insurer for under $19 a month. His secret? SelectQuote. SelectQuote is impartial. They'll comparison shop the pick of insurance companies like these to give you a choice of your best prices. SelectQuote has great savings on term life for women, too. Jim's wife, Deidre, can get a $500,000 policy for under $16 a month. SelectQuote has helped make term life insurance affordable for hundreds of thousands of people since 1985. How about you? Just call this number or go to SelectQuote.com. SelectQuote. We shop, you save.
Attention, sleep apnea patients. Are you tired of the expense and hassle of getting your CPAP and BiPAP supplies? Are you fed up with dealing with ill-fitting, leaking, or worn-out masks and straps? Are you worried about the effects that unsanitary tubes, cushions, and filters have on your health? If you said yes to any of these questions, Allied Medical Supply Network has the solution to your problems. You could qualify to have your supplies regularly delivered right to your door at little or no cost to you. That's right, no more inconvenience, no worn-out masks and straps, no more unsanitary equipment, just restful sleep. Call Allied Medical Supply Network today to determine if you may qualify to receive your fresh, brand-name supplies at little or no cost. Don't delay. Call us now to see if you are eligible to save money on regular delivery of your CPAP and BiPAP supplies. Call 1-800-815-9947. That's 1-800-815-9947. Or go to cpapsupplyhelpline.com.
Welcome back. She's been called the Sarah Palin of the Prairie, but South Dakota Congresswoman Kristi Noem has been making a name for herself in Washington, D.C.
And not just for her politics, but for her faith as well. David Brody has her story in tonight's Focus Report.
It's all native ground. It's never been broken.
Home on the range, the place where Kristi Noem feels total peace. An ordinary mom on her South Dakota farm. A world away from her Capitol Hill duties in Washington, D.C.
I am 100% convinced that God created me to be a mom, and that every other job that I have or duty that I have is just extra things that He's put on my plate.
Those extra things have kept her busy since her election to Congress in 2010. She's clearly a GOP up-and-comer and made big news from the beginning.
Representative-elect Kristi Noem is going to get the opportunity as a freshman to be part of the House GOP leadership. That is a huge honor, folks.
Now at the Republican leadership table, Noem communicates the party's message to all Americans.
The president claims to be leading us forward, but his policies have us stuck.
She also represents the large Tea Party contingent that surprised Washington with major wins in 2010.
It wasn't my job to sit at that table and only tell them what Kristi thought. It was my job to sit there and let them know what every other a member of my class thought.
And as one of the few Republican females in Congress, she also takes the lead against the so-called GOP war on women storyline.
We've got to be willing to be brave enough to get out there on the airwaves and push back on it.
Noam knows a thing or two about pushing back and taking charge. Life as a simple farm girl meant hard work, attending rodeos, and singing at church. She gave her young life to the Lord at Bible school. And then, while in college, she received heartbreaking news. Her father died in a tragic farming accident.
When he passed away, my whole life changed.
She felt lost, no longer able to go to her dad.
I remember laying in bed that night, not even knowing how we were going to do tomorrow. Because if we had a problem in our lives, if we didn't know what to do, Dad always knew. I sat up for several nights. I didn't sleep for about a week and just read my Bible.
And this woman of the prairie got tough, left college early, and came home to run the family farm. Ironically, her first crisis came in the form of an estate tax bill from the IRS for thousands of dollars.
That was one of the things that got me interested in government and policy, was seeing that we had our family operation almost destroyed because of bad tax policy.
So after attending to the family farm, she entered local South Dakota politics and graduated to Washington, where she's currently working on a crucial farm bill.
I rise today to talk about the importance of getting a farm bill done this year.
Even though Christie, the congresswoman, pushes for conservative policy, as a believer in Jesus Christ, she's got something even bigger on her mind.
God kind of taught me a lesson through the several months that I was there right away that, he placed me there, yes, to work on policy, but maybe my biggest job was going to be to minister to individuals.
Noam says she spends her time not just trying to change minds on policy, but trying to change hearts as an effective witness in a city with desperate needs.
And the way that he's going to fix this country may be by changing people's hearts and getting them more geared towards him. And that's the quickest way we're going to get stuff done.
God did business with her, too, softening her heart toward President Obama, specifically during one of his State of the Union addresses.
I felt my heart get hardened. I felt God really convicted me. The way that I was praying or the way that I was feeling wasn't accurate, that what I needed to be doing more was praying for the president. My whole perspective changed, and I felt a real conviction lay heavy on my shoulders about the way I was praying, and that God couldn't possibly use me until I started to pray how he had called me to pray.
There's no doubt God always had a plan for Noam's life, even in high school.
The South Dakota Snow Queen.
Oh my goodness, you brought that up.
Well, look, there's a thing called the internet, and I do research.
You got that? Oh my goodness, yes, the
yes.
South Dakota Snow Queen. In my defense, in high school, every girl in high school did the Snow Queen event. But boy, what a good training ground for giving speeches about the wonderful things in South Dakota.
And how about one more wonderful blessing? Remember how she had to leave college early after her dad died? Well, last year, as a sitting congresswoman, she finally got her degree after her sister insisted.
She just said, I'm surprised you never finished your college degree because you never quit anything.
It's no wonder that her steadfast determination and strong conservative backbone have people comparing her to Sarah Palin.
I think Sarah and I probably would get along if we ever got the chance to meet each other. But I do think that I just want to be Christie because if there's any other agenda there, I don't think that God will be able to use me how he wants to.
God is certainly using her in D.C. and also back at the farm.
That we would all go and be Jesus to everyone that we meet. We love you and we praise you and we thank you. In your name, amen.
Amen. David Brody, CBN News, Castlewood, South Dakota.
Up next, teaching the gift of giving this Christmas season.
From CBN.
Broken Eardrum is playing at the Civic tonight.
And you'll just have to miss it.
This is so incredibly unfair.
A special story of love and sacrifice.
Joy, Mom comes up with something.
Christopher Quantum, you and I are going to discuss your attitude right this minute. Superbook.
No!
Join the Superbook DVD Club and get Superbook's newest episode, He is Risen. Plus 2 copies to share with others. All for your gift of $25.
They have arrested Jesus, the Messiah. Do you not know that I have the power to crucify you?
No! Please! You can't! They've taken him to Golgotha. We must hurry. Mary is about to lose her son. the worst thing any mother could face. I am not leaving her.
Superbook. It's an amazing way to build a strong spiritual foundation in the children you love.
Mary, who are you looking for?
I've seen him! He is alive!
Superbook. He is risen. Available now.
Announcing an important breakthrough in healthcare that can benefit everyone. If you or anyone you love needs affordable health insurance, regardless of a pre-existing medical condition, call Quick Insurance 123 today and get the immediate relief you deserve. Quick Insurance 123 was created to provide affordable health insurance to all uninsured Americans, with or without pre-existing conditions. This is not a discount card. This is a real insurance program that lets you choose from many affordable health plans, with access to doctors, hospitals, emergency services, and more. So call the number on your screen now and get the health coverage you need just for calling. As a special bonus, we'll send you a free prescription savings card that could save you up to 85% on your prescriptions. That's right, you could save up to 85% on your prescriptions just for calling. Call Quick Insurance 123 to find out how you can get affordable health insurance and receive your free prescription savings card just for calling. Don't wait. Getting a free quote is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Call today.
Attention sleep apnea patients. Are you tired of the expense and hassle of getting your CPAP and BiPAP supplies? Are you fed up with dealing with ill-fitting, leaking, or worn-out masks and straps? Are you worried about the effects that unsanitary tubes, cushions, and filters have on your health? If you said yes to any of these questions, Allied Medical Supply Network has the solution to your problems. You could qualify to have your supplies regularly delivered right to your door at little or no cost to you. That's right, no more inconvenience, no worn-out masks and straps, no more unsanitary equipment, just restful sleep. Call Allied Medical Supply Network today to determine if you may qualify to receive your fresh, brand-name supplies at little or no cost. Don't delay. Call us now to see if you are eligible to save money on regular delivery of your CPAP and BiPAP supplies. Call 1-800-815-9947. That's 1-800-815-9947. Or go to cpapsupplyhelpline.com.
If you're looking for a long-lasting gift you can give kids this Christmas season, think about the gift of giving.
Yeah, that's the simple yet profound present a South Dakota teacher is giving her students. Carrie Wyman gave each of her third grade students an envelope with $5, asking them to give it away to someone or something in need. One student is giving her $5 to the Ronald McDonald House. The girl had 3 heart surgeries, and her family stayed there while she was getting treatment.
I really want to thank them for taking care of us while we're in there. That feels like I can make a difference in my life. Even though I have heart surgery, you can do a lot.
Sometimes we need to stop and take time to really focus on what's important.
Wyman says she hopes to change the students' focus from just receiving to what they can give. And those are definitely important life principles to be learned at such an early age. It's great.
Good stuff. And I want their 4th grade teacher next year to have them raise the money. That would be the icing on the cake.
The test.
That's all for this edition of NewsWatch.
Yeah, thanks for watching. Have a great night.